opens in New York City in 1962, a period marked by significant social and racial divides in the United States. The title refers to a travel guide used by African Americans to navigate safely through the segregated South. This guide serves as a symbolic and practical tool throughout the film, reflecting the broader social context of systemic racism and segregation. At its core, the film is a story about two vastly different men, an African-American classical pianist and an Italian-American bouncer, who embark on a transformative journey across the American South. Tony Vallelonga, known as Tony Lip, played by Viggo Mortensen, is introduced as a street-smart, tough-talking bouncer working at the Copacabana nightclub. He's a family man living in the Bronx with his wife, Dolores, Linda Cardellini, and their two young sons. Tony is depicted as a product of his environment, a working-class, Italian-American neighborhood where casual racism is commonplace. This is evident when two African-American plumbers visit his home, and Tony later discards the glasses they used, showcasing his ingrained prejudices. In stark contrast, Dr. Don Shirley, played by Mahershala Ali, is a world-renowned pianist who lives in a lavish apartment above Carnegie Hall. Dr. Shirley's home, filled with cultural artifacts and symbols of his achievements, reflects his sophistication and detachment from mainstream African-American culture. He's portrayed as an isolated figure, caught between two worlds, too refined for the black community and too black for the white elite. When the Copacabana temporarily closes for renovations, Tony finds himself out of work. Through a recommendation, he learns of an opportunity to work as a driver for Dr. Shirley, who is planning an 8-week concert tour through the Deep South. Tony attends an interview at Dr. Shirley's opulent apartment, where their differences are immediately apparent. Dr. Shirley's refined demeanor clashes with Tony's brash, unpolished manner. Despite their initial tension, Dr. Shirley hires Tony, impressed by his street smarts and ability to handle difficult situations. The job requires more than just driving. Tony is expected to act as a bodyguard, protecting Dr. Shirley from the dangers of traveling as a black man in the segregated South. Before embarking on the tour, Tony's wife, Dolores, expresses concern about the job. Tony reassures her, promising to write letters home regularly. This promise becomes a recurring theme, highlighting the importance of family and connection. The journey begins with Tony driving Dr. Shirley in a Cadillac, using the Green Book to plan their route. Early interactions reveal their cultural and personal differences. Tony's coarse language, eating habits, and lack of refinement contrast sharply with Dr. Shirley's disciplined, formal demeanor. Dr. Shirley critiques Tony's grammar and manners, while Tony mocks Dr. Shirley's aloofness and detachment from common experiences, such as eating fried chicken. As they travel deeper into the South, the realities of segregation become increasingly apparent. Dr. Shirley, despite his fame and talent, is subjected to demeaning treatment. In one town, he's denied the use of a restroom at a venue where he's performing. In another, he's forced to stay in substandard accommodations for black travelers. Tony, initially indifferent to these injustices, begins to empathize with Dr. Shirley. His protective instincts kick in, and he becomes increasingly vocal in defending Shirley against racist treatment. However, their relationship remains fraught with tension. Dr. Shirley criticizes Tony for resorting to violence and for his limited worldview, while Tony accuses Shirley of being out of touch with his own community. In one of the film's lighter moments, Tony introduces Dr. Shirley to fried chicken, a stereotypical food associated with African-American culture. While the scene is humorous, it also underscores their cultural disconnect. Dr. Shirley's initial reluctance and eventual enjoyment of the meal symbolize his gradual opening up to new experiences. In a small southern town, Dr. Shirley is arrested for being in a bar frequented by black patrons. Tony attempts to bribe the police to secure Shirley's release but ends up in jail alongside him. Dr. Shirley uses his connections to call the Attorney General Bobby Kennedy, who intervenes to secure their release. This incident highlights the systemic racism of the era and the privileges that Dr. Shirley's status affords him, even as he faces discrimination. As the journey progresses, Tony and Dr. Shirley develop a mutual respect. Tony begins to see beyond his prejudices, recognizing Shirley's humanity and the immense challenges he faces. Meanwhile, Dr. Shirley learns to appreciate Tony's loyalty and straightforwardness. The tour culminates in a prestigious Christmas Eve performance at a wealthy southern venue. However, Dr. Shirley is told he cannot dine in the main restaurant because of his race. Despite Tony's protests, the management refuses to make an exception. In a powerful act of defiance, Dr. Shirley refuses to perform and leaves the venue. Instead, he and Tony share a meal at a modest establishment where Shirley plays the piano for a small, appreciative audience. On their way back to New York, Tony and Dr. Shirley encounter a snowstorm. Tony, exhausted from driving, reluctantly allows Dr. Shirley to take the wheel. This moment symbolizes the trust and camaraderie they've developed over the journey. Back in New York, Tony invites Dr. Shirley to join his family for Christmas dinner. Initially hesitant, Dr. Shirley decides to attend, receiving a warm welcome from Tony's family. The film ends on a hopeful note, emphasizing the transformative power of friendship and mutual understanding. Portrays the pervasive racism of 1960s America, highlighting the indignities faced by African Americans, even in prestigious roles. Through Dr. Shirley's experiences, the film sheds light on the duality of being celebrated for his talent while being marginalized for his race. The central relationship between Tony and Dr. Shirley is a testament to the power of human connection. Despite their differences, they learn from each other, challenging their own biases, and growing as individuals. Dr. Shirley's character grapples with questions of identity and belonging. As a black man in a predominantly white elite world, he feels alienated from both communities. His journey reflects a broader struggle for acceptance and self-definition. Is a poignant exploration of race, class, and friendship, offering a nuanced perspective on a complex era in American history. The film's humor and heart make it accessible, while its themes resonate deeply, encouraging viewers to reflect on their own prejudices and the importance of empathy.